Hey ladies and gentlemen, another little video here about how to use film in a persuasive essay. Now, a technique you might not yet know about in Year 8 is foreshadowing. Now, foreshadowing is you get a little hint about something that might happen. So try and guess what examples I might use. Yeah, there you go. Alrighty. So in your introduction, you've got to basically spit out what you're going to write about. We talked about this in the last video. So an example of this could be, all right, here we go. I have an introduction here for a film, for an essay that I've made up, which is basically about, what makes a plot truly great. Something like that. All right, so I've got my hook to reel people in. All right. And my hook here is, if you haven't seen Star Wars, you won't understand some of the funniest lines in other films. All right, that's one of those things that makes you go, I don't really get that. All right, but I'll come to that later. All right, but it piques your interest. You know kind of what I'm going to be talking about. Then I have to introduce the text. I didn't mention that in the last film, but all that stuff in class I said the other day about, who's the director and that kind of thing. So the greatest sci-fi, fantasy, action, adventure films, so we've got the genre in there. Star Wars, we've got the date it was made, 1977, by George Lucas. All right, changed the way films were made. And then my thesis statement. No matter how many bangs, crashes, and booms there are, if a movie doesn't have a spellbinding plot, then it will never be truly great. All right, and definitely that sentence is missing probably some punctuation, some commas there, but I think you get the point. All right, so on to body paragraphs. All right, so the first thing you need to do is you need to make your point. All right, so the point I'm making here is a mentor allows a hero to complete his journey more successfully. All right, cool. We don't know who the mentor is, we don't know who the hero is, but the idea, the overarching idea of the paragraph is in there. Then we expand on that a little bit. Okay. We've got the idea that Luke Skywalker finds guidance and compassion from Obi-Wan Kenobi to allow him to unlock the Force. Right, that's our expansion on that point. Then we need a more concrete example. In unlocking the Force, Luke is able to fire a proton torpedo into an exhaust port to ultimately destroy the Death Star. Cool. That's my example on how the mentor helps him. The analysis here, and this is the thing we've been going on about film techniques and camera angles and shots and things like that. And yes, you can use a quote. The close-up shot of Luke's face concentrating then relaxing as he surrenders to the Force allows the responder to understand the power of the Force and thus how Obi-Wan has guided him. Okay, and the important part here, all right, we've got the technique there, which is the close-up shot. We've got what it shows us, and then we actually have why it was used, and that's the important thing, okay? And it allows us to understand the power of the Force. All right, and then we have our link to our next paragraph, which will be, this is the completion of the hero's journey, which he shares with his new buddy, Han Solo. And then I'll probably write a paragraph about how Han Solo is integral to the plot because he's the bad boy to Luke's good boy, and I could go on for hours. Then we have our conclusion. And as I said in the last video, use a little linking word. Thus, in conclusion, therefore, it can be seen. You can Google lists of 10,000 words for that. But the thing you need to do is you need to sum up your argument. All right, you remember your hamburger. Your introduction is the bread at the top. Then you've got your meat in the middle, bit of cheese on the cheeseburger, and then your bun at the bottom to hold it all together. That's what the conclusion is. All right. So in green here, this is where I've summed up the argument. I won't read it out to you. You can read. And then we have a link back to the thesis. Okay, the essay was about how movies are made great by having an excellent plot. This allows for the special effects and fight scenes to enhance rather than mask the plot. And there's the conclusion. All right. Now, one thing I need to show you, because up here I mentioned if you haven't seen Star Wars, you won't understand some of the funniest lines in other films. All right. I found this link to references of Star Wars in other films. Have a look at that. All right, that is just crazy. Still going. Let's get down. Because there's one I really wanted to show you. All right. Toy Story. and Toy Story 2. You've probably seen both those films. If you haven't seen Star Wars, you're missing a whole lot of that. Anyway, excellent.